We're still working on the rental house over on the Oregon coast, and the wind has blown down a great huge spruce tree that we're trying to get off the stump and finally did. Then I look out one night and see the moon is full. So when the moon is full, it means a super low tide and time to go clam digging. When the tide is low, we get in the vehicle and drive over Cape Lookout. We can see Netarts Bay to the right and the Netarts sand spit straight ahead of us, and out beyond we can see the Three Arch Rocks as they stand tall at sea. We get up to the bay and see the tide is already out pretty good, so we will waste no time. We'll grab our shovels and buckets and head down to the beach. We haven't clammed here for quite a few years, so we kind of forgot where the clams were, but we park at a place where there's a sign and it has a description of where you need to go to get them. So we're going to walk out there, and it ended up being quite a walk. It may have been about 3/4 of a mile out to where we start digging, but that's okay. We needed some exercise. After being cooped up in the house over here doing the interior finish, it was kind of nice to get out on the bay on a real nice day. And when we get out to where we can start clamming,
here's the cockles I've raked up. Oh, you found one.
Yeah, let's see what he is.
That seagull says he wants his picture taken. He says he'd like one of those clams. And there's another one over there. A couple, 3.
We have found a limited amount of eelgrass, and in that eelgrass is where we used to dig the big blues. But today, so far, we've only found one of the big blues, and the rest are quahogs and cockles. But we have no complaint about that. Those will make excellent clam chowder or fritters, or you could even steam them and they'd be good, except for the cockles. They're a bit too tough for that. The cockles are an excellent clam. We enjoy them. We'll chop them up fine or grind them up and put them in clam chowder, and they're an excellent flavor. The only thing, they're too tough to eat otherwise. Looks like we're not alone out here digging clams. That's kind of a popular thing to do. And the seagulls are standing by, 'cause when you dig down after the clams, you uncover worms and other things that the seagulls love. There's a quahog, a fairly nice one, that I just pulled out of the muds of Netarts Bay.
Look at him.
Where?
Oh, he's in the pool.
Oh, he's in the pool. Let's see the big clam. Oh my goodness. Wow. All kinds of people out today digging clams. And even dogs.
Marge likes to use a small garden rake and rake the cockles out. Usually you'll find the cockles within about the first 2, sometimes 3 inches of the surface. So if you just take a rake and just start raking, pretty soon you'll start finding them, and there are a lot of them here.
She showed me how to do it. That lady did. She said, first of all,
Nice big quahog.
nice one. There. Is there some more in this hole?
Another nice one, huh?
Okay.
Our favorite way of finding the quahogs is just to find a spot where it looks like there are a bunch of holes that look like it might be holes where they run their siphon up, and then just start digging a hole. And if you run into one, then just keep enlarging the hole, and you should be able to get almost a whole limit out of one hole. The cockles, they're within 2 inches of the surface, so you just rake them out with that little rake. And the blues, the way we find them is we find a fairly good sized hole it's not exactly round, it's a little outer round, and you shove your finger down there and you can.
Oh,
Right here, see?
right there. Just a second. I'm going to see. Just hold on. Oh, look at there's a nest. Right here. And there's this one.
That's okay.
And there's this one. Just let me wash these off.
You seagulls, get out of the way now.
I'll take a shovel.
Got it. Let's go then.
They're one short. How many of those big ones can you get?
Well, with the cockles, you're allowed 20.
Oh, whatever.
Feel his neck, and then you just start digging, and they're down almost elbow deep. The seagulls like to stand by, and in the event that someone walks off and forgets to watch their bucket, the next thing you know, you look over there and there's a little head reaching in the bucket, grabbing himself a clam out. So we keep our buckets nearby and watch them carefully. Yes, so we don't have a robber getting our clams. We like to dig the first little bit of dirt off with the shovel and then reach down by hand and feel them in the mud. That way you're not breaking their shell up as if you were to dig them out with a shovel. You might break the shell, and it makes them more difficult to clean and just doesn't work out as well as if you can just reach down there and grab them by the shell. We don't want to waste even 1 ounce of these precious clams. They're they're really good, and it's uh, it's a real good sport to go out and dig for clams, and anyone can do this. Marge has done this ever since she was a little girl, barely big enough to walk. But myself, I was born and raised in Montana, and I never got to see the ocean till I was 18 years old. There is one serious worm that I just dug out of the sand. He looks like more the size of a snake than he does a worm, and I thought about taking him for fish bait, but I'm not sure that kind of thing that the fish like him. I bet they probably do. But we'll deal with fish bait when we get ready to go fishing. Right now, we're after something to make some clam chowder out of. He better hurry up and get himself put away, or a seagull will have him in a little bit. He was sure one pretty worm anyway, and he can find him a hole and crawl back down in the sand and go on about his business of being a big old worm.
Yeah, he's right there. See?
Where?
Right in the hole.
Right there?
Yeah.
That one?
Yep.
Let's see. Let me count yours. You can't have an overcount. Yep. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There's 10. You got 20. I'm gonna.
By now, we both have our limit of 20 clams, and so we're just going to look the scenery over. What an awesome place to go out and go clam digging, with the 3 arch rocks standing just at sea out beyond us, and lots of seagulls around. And if we were to look further down on the beach here in Netarts Bay, we'd see a bunch of sea lions or harbor seals. An old blue heron was checking things out to see if he might find his dinner there. Well, we get 'em home and lay 'em out for photo op time. And now it's time to get down to the seriousness of cleaning our clams.
And what are you going to do with the cockle? Make clam chowder?
Make clam chowder out of it. There's part of it fell.
The way we clean them is we dip them in boiling water and let them boil just a little while, just till their shells open. Then we fish them out of the boiling water and take them out of the shell instantly, and they almost just fall out of the shell. You have to scrape just a little bit sometimes, but that way you lose none of the meat, and you're not putting them in there long enough to
Chowder.
I just use a pair of scissors.
Well, scissors work better than a knife, don't they?
But you just zip them right down. See, like that.
Okay, let's see what's in him. Oh yeah, some dark stuff.
Lots of dark stuff.
We'll get that dark muddy stuff out.
It's kind of like sandy.
Sandy. The Indians that lived on the coast and mainly ate a diet of clams and things from the sand, snails and other things. They wore their teeth out at a very young age due to all that sand. The ingredients are right in front of us. A few medium-sized potatoes, a large onion, some little carrots, celery, and bacon, and butter, and some whole milk, some cornstarch, and some 2% milk. And of course the clams that we dug down in Netarts Bay. She's gonna chop up the clams now into little pieces.
Then I'm going to boil them for a little while.
You'll cook them for a while,
And I'm
huh?
going to simmer them, just to cook them, with a little bit of clam juice. I'm going to put some bacon in with the clam.
How much bacon is that?
And that's about 5 strips of bacon, chopped up. And I'll stir it. And then I'll let it simmer. I drain the clams into...
That's the chopped up clams.
Okay, here's the clams that I have simmered. I drained them, and I put the juice in this other pan. Now I'm going to take my vegetables.
This is the juice.
That's the clam juice. And I'm going to put my potatoes in. That's the potatoes. And then here are the carrots and the celery. There we go. And the onions. Now, we'll cook those on medium, maybe a little more. And I'll put the lid on it. Then we'll add the clams and the milk back when they are ready, when the vegetables are cooked. Okay, we'll put the clams over here. There's the milk.
When did you first go clam digging that you can remember?
Oh heck, when I was just old enough to walk.
You've always done it?
Yeah. Since I'm old, because I just came from Kansas when I was, how old?
3.
3.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so you've
So
always
I
done
guess
clam.
maybe from the time I was at least 4.
Oh, yeah. And so you've always liked clams.
Yes, and I've always been able to dig them. Of course, we used to dig razor clams.
And how many of them did you say you dug on your birthday?
I dug 24 clams on my 12th birthday because razor clams used to have a limit. 24 was our limit.
On razor clams.
On razor clams, and I dug 24 on my 12th birthday.
And you said you dug them at the Peter Airedale wreck?
Yes, over by Astoria.
Oh, Astoria, Oregon. The mouth of the Columbia River is right there. And they're still digging them there around the Peter Airedale wreck.
Yes. In now, just before the potatoes get done, so that they can cook for a little while.
Okay.
Okay?
How did you fix your clams when you caught them?
After we caught them, we brought them home and put some water on the stove. And when the water got hot, we put our clams whole in until the shells popped open. Then after the shells popped open, we took them off the burner and put them in either ice water or just some cold water, and then took the clams out of the shells, put them in a bowl, and then we cleaned them. And then you just go ahead and take the dark stuff out of them, and if they have a neck, we open the necks up and wash them out, and if there was any skin on them, we peeled them. So anyway, we made them so they were nice and clean.
How did you say your dad liked them best?
Well, my dad, when we went razor clamming, he liked dipping them in batter, and then we would fry them in some oil, and they were really good. That was in a skillet, so we would just fry them up.
Well, did you dig baked clams too?
Not a lot. We pretty much just dug razors, because we'd go down where the Peter Iredale wreck was, or is, and dig clams all around there.
Oh, and then you made chowder out of the razors too?
Yes. We just chopped them up and made clam chowder.
But they were really good fried, huh?
Yeah.
Did you
Some
pound
people
them?
like them better. Yes, you pound them a little bit to tenderize them so that they wouldn't be as tough when you ate them.
Oh, well, they tell me it's a whole lot tougher if there's none.
Pretty much 4 heaping tablespoons.
4 tablespoons of cornstarch
Yes.
to thicken your chowder.
Yes. And if you want to, you can use flour, but I'm using cornstarch because Tom's having trouble with wheat in his food because of his psoriasis. And then I'm going to use the rest of this quart of milk to put in my chowder, the thickener. And also, I'm going to put a cube of butter, which is 1/4 of a cup. I'll turn this down, and I'll just put that in.
Whole cube of butter.
A whole cube of butter, that's 1/4 of a cup.
You're stirring the cornstarch in some milk, you say?
Yes, I'm making sure that it got all dissolved, and it looks like it has. And that's to thicken, and I'll stir this all up. Be sure to see the carrots. I'll check to see if the carrots got done. I'll put the lid on it. I think maybe they're done enough. Now I'll put the milk in. There's still 3 cups. This was a quart. That's going to make about the right amount. Now I can go ahead and heat that milk up just a little bit before I put my cornstarch in. I'll put the lid back on it for a few minutes. And now I'm just going to simmer the milk.
You don't want to boil it.
I don't want to boil it. No.
Yes.
Don't want to boil it.
It'll
Just
spoil.
simmer the milk, and then I'm going to put the other in and simmer it, and then it'll be done.
Yeah.
Just so it gets thick. Just warm enough for this to cook enough to get thick. Put my
Well, how old are you then?
In July, I will be 80. And how old are you? Next week, you'll be 83. I'm going to put my cornstarch with a cup of milk to thicken my clam chowder. Hope it does it. It's starting to thicken. Looking good.
Yeah, that looks about right.
And that's our clam chowder. So that it wouldn't curdle.
Oh, you don't want to boil it.
No, you don't want to boil it. That would...
Or it'll curdle the milk.
Right.
Yeah. Okay, you just simmer it. And this is the recipe that your mom and grandma used to make, is it?
Pretty much.
Yeah. For clam chowder.
For clam chowder. Put a little vegetables in it. Some people don't put celery or carrots in it. Some just put potatoes. But a combination of all the vegetables gives it a lot of flavor.
Makes it look really good.
So, I think we'll dip out some.
There's only the two of us, so we won't be able to eat too much of it right now. So I've got water running in the sink to cool it real fast. The part we don't eat, so we can put it in the refrigerator and maybe package some up and freeze it for later.
There. There, that should be plenty.
Okay.
And I'll put the lid on this. And I'll set this back over here. On the table. Here's my recipe. There. Okay. And we put a little bit of parsley on it for color and flavor. There. And I'll get myself some. Just about right amount. And then I'll just put a little bit of parsley on top of mine. Maybe I'll get some off of this other one here. There. And here's some water. And I didn't really put much salt or pepper in it. But it's plenty good. If a person wants to put a little bit of pepper on it, put a little pepper on it, and a little salt. That way anybody in the family can eat it and it won't cause any problems.
So how is it?
You know, it's real good.
Was it worth going clam digging for?
It's very good. Yes.